pledge allegiance, and afterwards, please remain standing. Pastor Tim Mitchell is going to lead us through tonight's invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given us, the beauty of the creation that we get to experience, the place where you have brought us to live and to protect and oversee and do the best that we can as we come together as this board. We invite you into the conversation. We invite you into each of our hearts as we deliberate and make the best choices we can for the citizens of our county. Guide us and lead us and help us to see you in everything that we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Mitchell. Nancy, will you do a roll call, please?
Acree.
Here.
Bivens.
Here.
Book. Friel.
Here.
Gascoigne.
Here.
Hudson.
Present.
Huss. Kitson.
Present.
Copine.
Present.
Minimi.
Here.
Naylor. Present. Pearson.
Present.
Sheline.
Here.
Shippert. Here. Scrogstad.
Here.
White. Here. Wilson. Zeman. Olson.
Here. Thank you. Under announcements, I got please mute or turn your cell phones off so they don't interrupt us tonight. And also, I want to announce the Lee County Highway Facility Grant we received last week. You should all got an email from Jeremy announcing that Congressman LaHood supported our Lee County Highway Department Facility Project funding request. Our project is projected to cost $7.9 million, and with a $4.9 million requested from Congressman's community funding, it's a major win for our county, it benefiting our constituents and improving our infrastructure. This highlights the importance and positive impact of our efforts here in Lee County, and I want to thank Congressman LaHood for his commitment to our county and for all of us. Under that, the next announcements, I got the budget retreat, Mr. Sheline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a reminder that we have the budget retreat coming up on June 4th, and please let Treasurer's Office know if you're able to make it on either physically or on Zoom so we can get an accurate count for the sandwiches we're going to have. So anyway, look forward to seeing everybody there. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks. Do I have is there any changes or corrections to the April minutes? If none, I'm going to let them stand as presented. And before we go to monthly resolutions, I'm going to move the agenda around a little bit. Mr. Tom Demmer wants to speak to us tonight about Waseda and what's going on for the quarterly update. I'm going to move him up so he's got other meeting he wants to get at.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, members of the County Board. I'm glad to be with you tonight to talk about what's happening in the economic development world here in Lee County. Things have certainly been busy, very active right now. A couple of areas of interest to note. The first is the dual rail mega site that we've talked about before in Alto Township on the northeast corner of the county. As the city of Rochelle has moved further south and developed some of the infrastructure there with water, wastewater, power, natural gas, fiber, and very importantly, a railroad infrastructure there. We've gotten a tremendous number of projects that are looking at that area right now. Well over a dozen projects that are in various stages of, many have made site visits, many are in negotiations with landowners, many are looking at working through enterprise zone benefits, state of Illinois EDGE tax credit benefits, and putting together a kind of a comprehensive program over there. So it's been really encouraging, I think, to see that after, we talked about a year ago when the state of Illinois added that site to a new program they called the Vetted Sites Initiative that was for mega sites or sites over 1,000 acres. there aren't that many of in the state of Illinois that have all those kind of utilities in place. We were the second site to qualify for that vetted sites promotional program. And it has driven a huge number of developers to look at that site, to come out and visit us, to sit down and talk about what their project could look like in that footprint. We're getting closer and closer every week to landing a project over there. So it's been really encouraging to see a lot of that interest. These are projects that a number of them are in the logistics space because they want to use rail so much. We have a number of really significant rail users who are looking at locating in that footprint. A couple of food manufacturers, things that want to be near the Chicago market, but also near the agricultural inputs they use for food manufacturing. We've had a couple of projects that have looked that are in the sustainable fuels world. So looking for, there's an ethanol plant right at the county line already today, looking to be able to maybe partner with that ethanol plant, create sustainable aviation fuel, sustainable automobile and truck fuel, or even shipping maritime fuel. Those projects have looked there as well. So we're kind of in a nice opportunity there with the really significant amount of rail infrastructure that exists and being around a lot of these inputs that people are looking to use, whether it's corn or soybeans or some of the other local industries that we have located there. So a number of those projects, I wish I could tell you more. They're all code name projects. We have non-disclosure agreements with a lot of these folks. It's very highly confidential, and they don't want any competitors to know, where they're looking or what they're looking to do. But this is a combination of, American companies, international companies, places looking to grow into the Midwest market, places looking to expand a footprint they already have here. Just a really significant amount of interest and activity that's happening over there. As in conjunction with that, we've really talked a lot about, as a project might come into that footprint, what do we need to do to be prepared for the next one? You always want to try to stay at least one project ahead of what you have right now. And so we've worked with the city of Rochelle to put together a phased infrastructure plan, looking at if a large user comes in here, what do we need to do to expand the rail access, the access along Stewart Road, the truck routes in and off of Interstate 88 or 39, trying to alleviate the impact as best we can with the village of Stewart and with trying to optimize the flow through that whole industrial park. And so, we have had conversations with DCEO, with the state of Illinois, with IDOT about, as we land some of these projects, what can we do to leverage that new investment to get another rail line or another spur that's run in, complete a loop that we need, add an extra switch in a certain place to try to make sure that we're minimizing the impact on local residents and making sure there's not a backlog or any kind of hurdle in place for the existing industrial clients in that area. We also have a number of projects that are looking at the Dixon Industrial Park and in a really positive development. After last year's initiative where Intersect Illinois was promoting these mega sites of only 1,000 acres or more, they've now expanded that program because of its success to sites that are 200 acres or more. Now, there's a lot more of those across the state of Illinois than 1,000-acre sites. And so it's a lot more competitive of a program to get into. They've indicated they wanted to choose about 25 or 30 of these 200-acre sites to promote across the entire state. So we submitted for consideration the Lee County Business Park, about 220 acres there that exists in the city's industrial park TIF district. And we also submitted the property that's south of Bloody Gulch Road and north of 88. It's owned by the Wissing Trust today. We call it the Dutch Road Corner property. And that's about 220 acres as well. And we submitted both of those, and the state accepted both of those both of those sites into this program. So we'll be on a pretty short list there as well for sites that have infrastructure in place already and that are in really attractive places to grow. So we expect to see kind of the same increased developer interest that we saw over south of Rochelle with that program come to some sites that are here in Dixon in the industrial footprint that we have here. In addition, aside from the industrial developments, you also, as you drive by, you continue to see a lot of the commercial and retail growth that's happening in the Gateway footprint. It's exciting to say, I think these invitations are just going out now, but on May 29th, a week from Wednesday, at 4:00, the Fairfield Inn is having a groundbreaking. And that's the hotel that will be in the Gateway footprint right next to where Casey's is today. So along Bloody Gulch Road, next to Casey's. They've broken ground already. You know, you can drive by and see it, but this will be the ceremonial groundbreaking. And so anybody is welcome to attend that. But really, it'd be nice to see that building go up, number of, you know, local jobs during the construction phase of that, and then to have the hotel motel tax and a couple hundred extra people here sleeping here every night will be a really positive thing. The other thing I just want to mention is we had an interesting opportunity to attend a luncheon that ComEd held along with a number of developers in the Chicagoland market, and they were focused on two specific industries, data centers and cold storage. And it was through the lens of both of these are really large electrical power users. And what can we do to evaluate the grid that we have, the access we have to be able to supply those kinds of large users. And it was really just an eye-opening experience to see the huge projected growth forecast for those industries that we see over the next few years. I mean, if you follow the news at all, you see every day in the news, there's an article about AI. I mean, this is, you know, in addition to the data centers we've seen in the last couple of years through Facebook and social media, you know, Google and Microsoft and all these technologies that we're very familiar with, there's also a huge increase in the need for data centers because of this developing technology of AI. And this corridor here in Northern Illinois is just ripe for those kinds of projects. So we've been doing some work with local landowners and with ComEd to identify where are there sites that ComEd can serve tremendously large power users. I mean, power users that are multiples the size of what the projects we used to see. And that limits the places that you're eligible to go. And so we've done a little bit of work to had a number of developers reach out specifically here and say, what can we do in Lee County with sites that are near the Nelson substation on Route 30 on the west side of the county, coming through south of Dixon and east of Dixon along the high capacity 345 kV transmission lines, and then moving to the east side of the county where those cross 39 over south of Stewart. So I think a number of really promising developments there. And as we see some of the data center activity that's happening a little to our east, where, you know, the Facebook data center in DeKalb, Microsoft just announced a 500-acre data center near Plano. These folks have a really big interest in being around the Chicago market, but you can't find 500 acres in Chicago. And so they're being relocated to rural areas and bringing along multi-billion-dollar investments and really some tremendous amount of economic development activity. So it's, again, things are really progressing along very, very nicely. Hopefully one of these meetings I can tell you a name of a company instead of just a project name, a code name, or a secretive way to hint at it. But yeah, we continue to see really promising development and a number of really large projects in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars are looking in Lee County. And we're working to try to land one or more of those projects in the next few weeks. So I'd be happy to take any questions, open it up to anybody who has anything they'd like to talk about.
Mr. Sheeline.
Jim.
Tom, I really appreciate you giving us this update. That was a huge mouthful. That's one of the most exciting economic development reports I've heard in a long time. That's just fantastic. One of the things you touched on, and I want to make sure that I'm somewhat familiar with, but maybe you have more knowledge on it, and that's the sustainable aviation fuel opportunity. Could you expound a little bit on that? Because this could very well be a game changer for Lee County agriculture, northern agriculture specifically.
I really agree with that. And so the sustainable aviation fuel companies, they want to be close to ag inputs. And there's a lot of places in the country they can be close to the inputs. There's not a lot of places they can be close to O'Hare International Airport, Midway International Airport, and one of the top 10 cargo airports in the country in Rockford. So the proximity to customers for this fuel is really attractive to them as well. We've talked with, as you might imagine, these are very rail intensive projects typically. They're bringing in a lot of supply, whether in many cases it's low carbon ethanol that they're bringing in, and then they're blending that into an aviation fuel and bringing that out on rail. And we certainly have the capacity to serve that and have a connection from the dual rail mega site footprint into O'Hare to the fuel field there. We also toured, Jason Anderson and I toured, Kinder Morgan has a pipeline portal in Rochelle where they currently distribute gasoline and diesel off of a BP pipeline. That BP pipeline actually connects into O'Hare to the fuel field near O'Hare. And so we've had some conversations with them about, do you have other places in your footprint where you can take sustainable aviation fuel on this pipeline and transmit it from place to place? And they said they do have a few places they do that right now. So we're looking at that as even we knew we had great rail infrastructure, but we may even have this pipeline opportunity to be able to set up a large plant that's going to manufacture that fuel, but then be able to put it on a pipeline and deliver it straight to, those fuel terminals that serve cargo and passenger airplanes in one of the busiest airports in the world.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Has there been any thought with the big power draws these companies are taking to small modular reactors or things that can, with nuclear, generate a lot of power more than wind and solar even could in this area?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And so the state of Illinois had for a number of years a ban on development of any kind of new nuclear power. They've lifted that ban specifically to allow for small modular nuclear reactors. I still think realistically we're many years away from those becoming commercial ready. But at least we've cleared the pathway for those to happen. And yeah, as you're talking about some of these huge users, they might have one on site for them and them alone. I mean, at the ComEd luncheon, they said in previous years, ComEd used to land a 100 megawatt customer and it was big news. Now they have some of these data centers that come in, they want 1,000 megawatts or a gigawatt of power. And that's like a regular request. The requests we're seeing for even non-data centers, some of these fuel manufacturers are in the several hundred megawatt category. And that's just incredibly high. I mean, the Byron nuclear plant is about 2,200 megawatts. So you could have a data center that's using half of a nuclear plant, of a full-size nuclear plant. So the scale of these things is just on a whole different level. And yeah, if we could get if those become ready for deployment sooner, I think we'd be in a really good spot for that to happen because we certainly have the land necessary to support these several 100-acre developments.
Any more questions or comments? Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
We'll go on monthly resolutions. We have no Joseph Fire resolutions this month. Zoning and planning, in your packet, the monthly report from zoning and planning with an overview of their office activities, and petitions are in there. Any questions on the report? We'll go down to petitions. And B, we have two petitions going to ZBA. We have petition number 24-P1625 Amoreso, Lee County RNG LLC. The petition is in your packet and includes the PIN numbers. The parcels are zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District and are located in Marion and South Dixon Townships. The petitioner is seeking special use permit for the purpose of constructing and operating a private pipeline. Is there a motion to approve this permit? Just Mr. Friel moves and Mr. Kitson seconds. We're motion to move this petition to the ZBA is what we're doing. Is there any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The second petition is number 24-P-1626, Michael Doty and Tammy Doty regarding PIN 16-07-06, 200-012, commonly known as 88 Palmyra Road, Sterling, Illinois. That's located in Palmyra Township. The parcel is zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District. The petitioners are seeking a variance from Title 10, Chapter 9, Section 3, bulk regulations, specifically side and rear yard setback for the purpose of constructing an accessory structure. Let's get a motion to move the petition to the ZBA. Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Alice, do you want to come up and tell us what this is all about, or is everybody familiar with this?
We talking about the variance?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, this is going to zoning next month. Mr. and Mrs. Doty own a parcel almost near Sterling. It is a very unusual shaped parcel. It is a triangle, and so essentially they're kind of limited with what they can do as far as setbacks. So they are seeking a variance from the setbacks that would allow them to build an accessory building.
Any questions or comments? I just wanted you to explain because not everybody knew what Title 10, Chapter 9, Section 3 is. So, thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of moving it, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go down to, I got one petition going to the Planning Commission. Petition number 24-PC-76. It's by the Lee County Zoning Office. Petition to amend the text of Title 11, Subdivision Flood Control and Stormwater Management. Chapter 3, it's flood control of the Lee County Code of Ordinances. The proposed text amendment, if approved, will update the existing code so that it's compatible with requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program. We're just moving this to the Planning Commission for their discussion. Do I have a motion to move this? Mr. Akery moves, Ms. Naylor seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now I got two petitions coming from the ZBA. The first one is petition number 24-P-1623. Petitioners Irish Eyes Farms LLC. It's regarding the pins 16-01-13-100-001 and pin 16-01-14-200-003. It's located in Palmyra Township. The parcel is currently zoned Ag 1 Rural Ag District. The petitioner is requesting a special use permit for the purpose of a 5 megawatt commercial solar energy facility, commonly known as a community solar. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for petition 24-P-1623? Mr. Sheline moves, Mr. Friel seconds it. Any discussion?
I have a question. Maybe for Alice. Not specific to this petition, but do you know how many acres we're up to in Lee County with?
I don't,
solar?
I am working on getting that together for you.
Okay,
I do have some questions about it, but I'll get a hold of you tomorrow with those.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I have a motion. I have a second. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bye.
Do you want to do a roll call vote? Nancy? Sorry.
Okay, we'll start with Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Minimi,
No.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
No.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Akery,
Yes.
Bivens,
No.
Friel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Nancy, Mike Zeman here. I wasn't on the original roll call, but I'm here now.
Oh. Okay, Mike. Sorry.
My vote is yes.
Okay. There's 4 no,
I would assume the motion carried then.
right?
What was the total?
Because now there's 16 present. So that means 12 yes, 4 no.
12 yes, 4 no. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to petition number 24-P-1624 by Richard Humphrey Jr. and Brenda Humphrey. It's regarding PIN 18-08-13-100-006. It's located in South Dixon Township. The parcel is currently zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District. The petitioner is requesting an accessory special use permit for the purpose of skilled trades. In other words, it's off-site services only and parking for the parking of refuse trucks and equipment. Is there a motion to approve the resolution for petition 23-P? Mr. Kitson.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we table this for a month. There's some questions that have been brought up. We don't really have answers and we need legal counsel. And we don't have either one of them here today. So I would ask that we move this and table it the next month.
Do I have a second to that? Mr. Meany?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion about tabling it for next month? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There are no petitions coming from the planning commission. So now we're going to go to administrator monthly update and board member comments. Jeremy's in Colorado on a bike race. I think Mr. Kitson had something you want to share with us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would ask that anybody that's hearing what we're doing, including the news media, the tax bills have just gone out. And I would ask that you please remember our people that work here to collect taxes are only collectors. We ask that you treat them with respect and that they are employees. They are not responsible for the taxes. And if you have concerns with your taxes, please look at who you're upset with and go to those people, whether it be the school district, be us. If you're not happy with taxes and the Lee County taxes, I'm sure any of the board members would be glad to discuss with you why we're at where we're at. But other taxes are much higher than ours. I would suggest you talk to those people, but please, please do not take it out on our employees who are only there to collect the taxes and then disperse it to the people it goes to. I ask them to be respectful of them. Thank you.
Well said. Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Schilling.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, I just want to make a comment. Bob made this announcement and I want to kind of comment on that. I want to compliment both the chairman and Jeremy putting together the meeting with Darren LaHood's staff and with Darren. $4.9 million is a huge boon for our county. It was kind of when we started down this path as far as building a new facility for the highway department. Of course, it was done with the idea that we're setting the county up for the future. And it really, I can't emphasize enough what a big deal it is to have this community grant that Congressman LaHood bestowed upon us. But it was through the effort and the contacts that we have and the good relationship we have with the congressman that made this happen. And Bob, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. That's it makes the project doable now. So thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, if none, we'll move on to public comments. I've got two that want to speak. The topic is not on the agenda, so we'll give them 5 minutes apiece. We'll start out with Terry Mercer.
I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity. And my name is Terry Mercer. I live in Winnebago County, and I've been a resident of Illinois for 65 years. I am a volunteer for United Sovereign Americans and not an official spokesperson. I will continue with this resolution. Whereas an open source audit of the Illinois 2022 general election conducted by Illinois state citizens has uncovered evidence of massive inaccuracies and violations, both federal and state laws, including 4,032,801 ineligible, uncertain registration violations found within Illinois state voter roll database. Again, that's 4,032,801. 589,985 votes cast by ineligible or uncertain registrations. 27,491 more votes counted than voters who voted in the 2022 general election. No one knows who cast them. 589,952 apparent voting violation is in excess of the legal standard system of accuracy for a valid federal election. For 2022 elections in Illinois, this number was 33. And yet we've had 589,952. Certification, as defined by law, is an accusation of accuracy. Compliance appears to have been fraudulent and illegal. Whereas these findings trample accuracy requirements of voting systems for a federal elections. For voting systems, accuracy is defined as the ability of the system to capture, record, store, consolidate, and report specific selections and absence of selections made by the voter of each ballot position without error. Whereas it's known factually probably that the intent of the voters is accuracy represented by the election results. Therefore, certification can be lawfully conducted. Certification of election that varies from the law is an abridgment of civil rights of the citizen. Whereas Illinois' 2022 general election appears to be invalid, depriving us of a guaranteed protection of our natural rights under a government duty provided chosen by us, the American people, resulting in incalculable damage to our families and our way of lives and the fabric of these United States. Therefore, we call upon our representatives to provide relief to the people and the assurance of domestic tranquility by joining us in demanding a valid 2024 general election that upholds these existing laws and equitable principles of law. 1, proof of citizenship, identity, and eligibility to register to vote. Voter rolls certified, accurate, and available for public review and challenge for 30 days before the start of early voting. Voters added after that date must bring proof of citizenship, identity, and address in person to a qualified official at each polling place. Hand-marked secure ballots similar to currency, where image technology is used for tabulation. These security features must be verified in the ballot image. Systems, machines, security measures, infrastructures, and conduct are required to be compliant with federal law for fraud prevention regarding risk assessment, certification, testing, and amplification. Adjudication must be signed off by party, candidate, and trained citizen witness. After given full and effective observation rights, candidates and trained citizens must be allowed immediate access to the ballots, ballot imaging, and cast vote records. Ballots, regardless of entry source. Election operations and systems must maintain end-to-end chain of custody from voter to vote count to final canvass, including audibility and witness transfer with paper records. A National Institute Standard Technologies compliant, randomized, statistically valid end-to-end audit with a 95% confidence level of all elections pursuant to the 14th Amendment, Section 2 must be performed.
Mr. Mercer, we're running out of time, so.
Oh, thank you.
Now we have Dean Barker.
Hi, I'm Dean Barker. I'm from Winnebago County. I've been a resident in Illinois for 66 years. The National Institute of Statistical Technology randomized statistically valid end-to-end audit with a 95% confidence level of all elections pursuant to the 14th Amendment, Section 2 must be performed. These audits are to be conducted by qualified, insured, and bonded security, forensic, and financial auditors, not personnel from within the election system. Reconciliation will include the vote count, real physical ballots, adjudication, cast vote records, ballot count, qualified voter count, custody transfer, and all other paper and electronic systems, including logs. If the total of all unique variances is more than 10% of the margin of victory, a new election must be held in the state for those candidates affected, unless the issues can be provably corrected by manual hand recount and a full review of records. Waiver or requirements is not allowed. Only end-to-end system compliance from registration through certification can guarantee the intent of the people is accurately recorded. Whereas our constitutional system of representative government only works when the worth of the honest ballots is not diluted by invalid ballots procured by corruption, and assuring accuracy can only be achieved through fealty to those laws governing the four following tenets of an election. 1, the voter rolls must be accurate. That's from the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. 2, votes counted must be from eligible voters, U.S. Constitution, 14th Amendment. 3, the number of votes counted must equal the number of voters who voted. 4, there can be no more than 1 out of 125,000 ballots in error by voting systems, and that's from the Help America Act, Vote Act of 2002. So this concludes a powerful written resolution outlining massive inaccuracies of our 2022 election, from registration to certification. In it, you heard us to ask for menial remedies and provided proactively to protect the validity of a 2024 general election. In fact, the resolution cited many U.S. Supreme Court precedents and support the need for such actions. These laws are being ignored. The bottom line is the checkbook is not balancing. We need certainty. The voter system, which controls our vitally important right, the right of suffrage, is not capable of producing an accurate, trustworthy result. Do you think these anomalies from our election system, which are part of our national security infrastructure, should continue to be ignored? How much is it costing us not to fix the problem? How much is it costing our GDP, our military, our foreign policy, our health, our self-esteem of our children and young people? And how much is it costing our dignity to keep fighting each other? The cost is immeasurable. So I urge you to show your agreement by passing the resolution. If you're unable to today, we ask that you be invited back and put us on your agenda if your process requires that to pass. Our website showcasing initiatives and nationwide and some great videos explain anomalies and apparent violations of the law are found here in this state as well as other states. And the website is unite4freedom.com. I encourage you to check it out. And then I'd like to leave a sheet with someone here. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think Jack could talk to him about County Services Committee and yep. Thank you.
Sir, if you just go to the county website and find I'm over here. If you go to the county website, you could find my email under the directors, and you could send me an email, and then we'll be in contact about when the date is and a copy of that resolution that you're wanting to provide to us, and we'll take a look at it and go from there. Excellent. Thank you.
Question, gentlemen. Are there other counties that have passed this so far? Is Winnebago?
Winnebago's.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. We're committee-based, so that's go through the committee and we'll work its way to the county board agenda. So thank you. We'll Move on to county organizations, presentations and updates. Carla, yes. Absolutely.
Sorry to fill out the form.
That's right.
That hurts. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Clay Whalen. I'm your Lee County Sheriff. And I just want to highlight a win that we had for our community this last week. So in honor of National EMS Week, last weekend on Saturday, May 18th, we had a call of a unresponsive 3-year-old floating in a pool over on Willett Avenue, which is just outside of the city of Dixon, behind Frog Hollow. It's called Frog Hollow, behind the Shell gas station there. What happened was the child had got into the pool as grandmother and mother were preparing lunch. Another child saw the 3-year-old in the pool, reported it to parents and grandparent. Parents and grandparent began screaming, alerted a neighbor, Amy Coots, who happens to be a nurse. She responded to assist. They began resuscitation efforts on the child that I was told that Amy Coots's resuscitation efforts were instrumental. Dixon Police Officer Tyler Henson arrived in short order, took over CPR. Firefighter paramedic Josh Tucker and firefighter paramedic Matt Hay from the Dixon Rural Fire Department arrived and did what's called a load and go in an emergency situation, transferred that child to KSB Hospital, of course, performing resuscitation efforts. By the time they arrived at KSB Hospital, the child was crying. So that is a very, very good sign. Child was airlifted later to OSF St. Anthony's. And I'm happy to report today that that child, as of Monday, was moved out of the ICU unit to a normal room and was playing actively. So full recovery is expected. And in honor of National EMS Week, I just wanted to highlight that situation.
Awesome story. Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Clay. We'll go to county organizations, presentation updates. Carla Belzer from U of I, County Extension.
I have no idea how to follow that. Wow, that took my breath away. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, for having me tonight, allowing me tonight to share some updates from Illinois Extension. I did something a little different. This report, I actually prepared some slides, and normally I just hand you a bunch of flyers and tell you what we have coming up, but I thought I would report on some impacts, but I want to start with a story. So I took that picture on my back deck in rural Lee County on Monday, and I wanted to share it because, number one, I think Lee County is just the best place to live. It's so beautiful. But also right now, Lee County is a cicada-free place to live. So I was able to enjoy this picture without that annoyance. And I just bring that up because while we might not be seeing the emergence yet here in Lee County, Illinois Extension has a plethora of resources when that time comes. So if you or your constituents or businesses, have questions, we certainly have the answers regarding management and protection and all of those things. So just here tonight to talk a little bit about what we have going on. And I wanted to start with just reminding you of our mission, which is the next slide, and our 5 program priority areas that we're addressing through our different programs throughout the county. Essentially, our goal is to help communities and individuals drive creative and informed decision-making that enhances their quality of life. So hopefully tonight in the things that I share, you'll just see a little bit about how we're doing that. So on our next slide, the last time I came, we didn't have our 2023 impact report available for you. So you can access the full report in a couple of different ways. That QR code, that link should also take you directly to the report. In 2023, we administered over 1,200 program sessions that positively impacted nearly 14,000 Lee County residents. We're incredibly proud of that number. This demonstrates our commitment to serve the community. And we do this important work organically through our own programs, but also through establishing valuable partnerships with local organizations, schools, and businesses to expand our reach and to impact our initiatives. So this report, it is so hard to shrink 1,200 programs down to 16 pages over 3 counties. So there are some things that I want to highlight. The very first one is actually that picture. This cover photograph was produced by Evelyn Sims, who is a 12-year-old Lee County resident and a member of the Wyoming Indians 4-H Club. That was her entry to the Lee County Fair in 2023 for photography, and it was voted in our unit to be the winner of our annual impact report. So we were pretty proud of that. And this is the first time that we've done that, and just another way to honor the work of our 4-H members. So as you just glance through that report, you can just see different initiatives and different impact that we're making in the county, which I'm going to tell you about a few of those right now. So I'm going to start with our WITS Fitness program. We hold that program in partnership with KSB here in Lee County. It is a monthly brain health exercise program. We completed an evaluation of that series in March, and we were not surprised by the findings because it just validates all the research we have on this, that by keeping our brains active and healthy, our participants are finding increased social connections, which is huge for older adults. It helps keep healthcare costs down. It can impact their physical, their mental, and their social, emotional health. Participants also reported improved thinking and a challenge to work in a different way. And they have an increased awareness of the importance of remembering, solving problems, and paying attention. So as you can see on that flyer, Kara is doing those programs throughout the year in partnership with KSB. Right now, that is our only Lee County location. She does do that program in other locations throughout our 3-county unit, but we're looking to develop some additional locations here in the county this year. Kara's only worked for us for 10 months. And so she's hit the ground running and doing a lot of great things. So I'm going to switch gears a little and talk about our impact with youth programming. So we just wrapped up our embryology program in our 3-county unit, including Lee County. So in Lee County, we worked in 5 different schools with 17 classrooms that impacted 475 students. And this program allows the children, the youth, an opportunity to observe the process of embryo development firsthand, which fosters, a love for science and a curiosity. This program does align with educational standards. We work very closely with the teachers to align with their science curricula, and gives an understanding of biology, life cycles, and the natural world. We provide everything that teachers need to successfully implement this program. So in Lee County, that meant we provided 17 incubators, gallons of distilled water, kits, which included heat lamps, gallon Ziploc bags of feeds, and bags of shavings, and 34 waters, 34 feeders, 34 bases, and 34 dozen eggs, which is about 408 eggs. So you can read some of the impacts that the teachers have shared with us. And the first one really strikes me, that the students have become compassionate with others' differences. So not all chicks hatch the same. Some look a little bit different, and it allows an opportunity for those discussions about differences that might not otherwise happen in the classroom. So really exciting stuff. That's an annual program that we do in our unit, and we're really proud to support that. So the next program that I wanted to highlight that also just wrapped up was our Build Your Future Spin Club. And I realize that's kind of small to read on the large screen, but this was a virtual spin club. So kids are busy, and we're transitioning to a virtual world. So we hosted a youth program every other week from January to April. And it culminated in a trip to the University of Illinois Extension campus for a conference on career readiness. So it was really great to take youth from our area who might not get an opportunity to go down to the U of I very, very much to experience that. So some of the things this spin club talked about was really focused on career understanding. What are your options? How do you pick a career? How do you prepare for job interviews? And the outcomes that we see on the screen, and the direct quotes from the participants kind of identified, demonstrated that impact. One said that their favorite activity was practice interview questions. And I'm a mom of a 16-year-old who got his first job just this week. And I wish he would have taken that class because he had no questions for his interviewer. He should have taken that class and would have been more prepared. This spin club, this offering, led into another idea in terms of preparing kids for future careers. And that is currently through our offering called Pixel Pioneers, which is the next slide. Really as a result of the career development spin club, and based on that feedback, we determined that local youth are interested in learning more about future career opportunities. So this program really introduced youth to the career of graphic design and featured hands-on learning activities in terms of typography and color theory, logo branding, for our future entrepreneurs and potentially our future graphic designers. There was a tremendous response to this program. And once capacity maxed out in our local area, this program was opened up to all 4-H youth in the state. And we have about 50 kids joining us every single week for these sessions. So the sessions are ongoing. You can see we have our last one next week. So next time I come, I'll share some impacts with you. So moving back a little bit more locally, I wanted to highlight our Kids in the Kitchen program, a monthly cooking program in Dixon from September to April. So it happens once a month. Some really, really great outcomes. I've mentioned this before to this group, but I wanted to share some pretty awesome pictures and share with you that, students increased their understanding of how to cook, which is great. In today's world, really focusing on that fresh produce, not just convenience foods, which can impact overall health and well-being. Also, 100% of students learned a new kitchen skill and how to prepare nutritious and tasty food. The class also created a recipe book, which is pretty cool. Each month there was a different spotlight. So zucchini, potatoes, cranberries, pizza. They did do a month on pie. You have to have something a little naughty every now and again. They did a month on Instapot. Did you know that there are many different ways to make pancakes? You probably did, but they focused on pancakes one month and then salads. So again, this program, we support it, we sponsor it, but it really is in due part to our amazing volunteer base that we have. Some great volunteers met with our kids monthly to facilitate that. So on the next slide, and these two programs kind of go hand in hand, our Lee Junior Garden is back for the season. This is held again in Dixon each week from April to August at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. I will tell you, the youth are 100% responsible for their garden. So you can see in some of those pictures, you can see them planning. They plan their garden bed. They tend to the garden bed. They do all of the work. And then there is also a classroom portion where each week they learn about a different produce. Sometimes they do different taste tests. I happened to be there this past Tuesday. These children were eating peppers like candy. And even one of the other moms said, wow, like this is really cool just to see them stuffing their faces with peppers. So really great opportunity. Last year, they donated over 100 pounds to local food banks. So love highlighting programs where our youth are really making a difference and again, developing them to be the citizens of tomorrow. So you have an opportunity to see some of their hard work. Many of the youth in this program take their produce to the Lee County Fair in July to have it be judged, and that further enhances learning opportunities from this program. And on the fair note, I have Katie McBride, who is our Lee County 4-H program coordinator, just to put in a little plug about the fair.
Hi, Katie Baker. So Lee County 4-H Fair and Show, it'll be end of July. It's a really, really great opportunity to see what all the kids do throughout the year. We have a really big visual arts section, environmental sciences, a lot of projects. The plug is, if you feel like coming on out, please come on out to see those projects. But if you're interested in volunteering to help judge some of those projects, please let me know. We're looking for like shooting sports and hunting and fishing volunteers to judge those kind of things. So we have spots available for people to help. And also our federation group. So Lee County has a federation club. It's older youth that kind of put together activities for the county. And they have decided that their donation drive this year is going to be a condiment food drive. So like ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, that kind of stuff. And they have buckets that they put out in the exhibit building to collect those donations. And then the winning club with the most donations gets a pizza party at the end of the year. So come on out to see that.
Yeah. We train you to be a volunteer, by the way. And I'm telling you, if you have ever lost hope in our youth, come be a 4-H judge. That will be erased. You will see how awesome youth in our community are. So just to wrap up a few of the things, the next slide, as many of you are aware, so we're partners in the Lee County Broadband Breakthrough Initiative with some of your esteemed colleagues. We are in week 12 of 16 of that project. We're really excited about the progress that we've been making. It has been our pleasure to serve as a connector and supporter between the county and the Benton Institute for this work. So Mike Delaney is kind of our lead contact person on that. We just want to formally thank the county for allowing us to serve in this way. We've been through this process with like 40 counties so far in Illinois, so we have some experience. I also want to extend an invitation. The next slide is our Independent Grocer Summit. Everyone in this room is invited to attend. We have some colleagues in downstate Illinois who are working on the issue of food insecurity in rural counties, specifically with independent grocers. The playing field for those folks just isn't fair. It's hard for them to compete against the Walmarts and the county markets and the big boys. Some of our colleagues downstate got some attention from some local legislators to address this issue, and we are hosting a summit for the local grocers to come and have their voice be heard and really share what some of the challenges that they might have. This is graciously hosted by Senator Win Stoller. In my count, when I was helping prepare for this, Lee County has 5 total independent grocers in Dixon, Amboy, Ashton, Sublette, and Pawpaw. All of those grocers have been personally invited to attend this event. I will say my colleagues in Southern Illinois, they have had tremendous success at getting some federal grant dollars to help their local independent grocers. So we are very hopeful that that is a model we can replicate here in our local area and keep those local grocers operating. I promise you I'm almost done. Okay, this is the most exciting thing. Speaking of legislators, I had to go a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but I briefly want to mention some work that I've been involved in at the state level. So when I meet with my advisory council, and a lot of the information that I get from the field is that one of the ways that we're not really adequately serving our local constituents is in commercial ag. So I have some insight on that. Approximately about 15 years ago, Illinois Extension decided to centralize their commercial ag support on campus, really feeling like the specialists and the folks that we have working on campus could service the whole state. And quite frankly, that model just hasn't worked very well. So what we are proposing to rectify that, and we're seeing great recent movement for this, is to put commercial ag educators back out in the field. That industry is booming, thriving. So many things are coming, fast in that industry, and Illinois Extension can play a role to serve our producers better. I don't know if anyone's heard about the Asian longhorned tick. Anyone? Found in downstate near Springfield, detrimental to cattle, like can kill a cow. Not a lot is known about them. So the beauty that Illinois Extension can play in that is we can take the research that's being developed at our institution and other land grant institutions, apply that in the field, and then help the end producer protect their herds and give them that education and information. So we can only do that if we have boots on the ground in the field. So our ask, we're asking for an increase in our line item budget within the Illinois Department of Agriculture budget, bringing our statewide budget to $15 million beginning this next fiscal year. The whole plan with that additional increase, it's a $5 million increase, is to support commercial ag educators in every single unit throughout the state to address some of these issues like nutrient loss and regenerative ag and climate change and climate smart technology and all of those things. So it's a very exciting opportunity. I was down on the Capitol on May 7th. It's a bipartisan bill. We actually learned on May 7th, it's sitting in Rules Committee, probably likely not going to come out, but it is sounding like it'll be added as an omnibus package and just included in a general line item. So we're really hopeful to get word on that soon. My plan of action, once that does come through, that's how positive I am, is I'm going to work with our local farm bureaus and certainly our partnership with SAWC and any other constituents to see what is needed most, so I can specialize that educators' field of knowledge to what our local county needs. So I hope that the next time I come talk to you, I'll have really positive news to share about that. It's a very, very exciting time. So just to wrap up, the last couple slides I included are upcoming opportunities. The first one is our opportunities for youth in our 4-H program. Just a few of the opportunities that we have going on. That QR code can take you where you need to go if you're interested in any of those opportunities. And then the very last slide is our unit-wide program calendar that features all of our program and events. Again, scan the QR code, click on the link. I also, am always open to feedback. If you have specific issues that you're seeing in your districts and your areas, the Illinois Extension can address. My door is always open. The phone always rings. I always answer emails. Be happy to have that conversation with you regarding county priorities and how Extension can come into better alignment with those priorities. So please do not hesitate to contact me. So be happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.
Any questions or comments for Carla?
Thanks, Carla. That was a great presentation.
Yeah.
Speaking of those priorities, what is 4-H and the Extension stance on wind and solar as they compete in this commercial agriculture spot?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I would say that's probably more of our agriculture, agribusiness, area of interest. So 4-H doesn't really, stake a claim on what is good or bad in terms of that. I would say I would have to do some more research and get back to you to answer that specific question. Our role is to listen to what community needs are. And I'll just personally tell you, during the legislative visits, I visited with all our local senators and representatives that serve my 3-county unit. And one of them told me his major concern with the solar farms is that land is still counted in as overall acreage, but it's taken out of production. So it's essentially, it hurts the farmer. I mean, they get rent from it, they get payment from it, but it hurts their overall yields because it's a zero yield. So even just in that conversation, I thought, man, we have some opportunities to develop some technologies and some, guidance around what could be used or what could be done to help maintain that productivity. So, whether it's research on here are crops that you can grow, in small installations under solar, or, maybe there is a pollinator opportunity or beekeeping even, because that doesn't, take a lot of machinery to address. So we have opportunities, but we don't take an official stand on good or bad. We do have a whole program area on natural resources, energy, and environment. That could potentially be an educator that I could bring to our local area with this increase in funding to help give us some guidance and support people in the field.
Thank you for that answer. And speaking of those things, is Illinois Extension doing any sort of research on any impacts to human health with wind or solar?
I'm not sure of that. I will get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Carla, really appreciate you coming doing these presentations, and the hard work you do with the youth of the county is outstanding. But I really appreciate your passion in what you're doing. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you. I will tell you, not only do I love living in Lee County, but I love working for U of I Extension. I don't, we have such an impact on our county. We don't always do a good job of telling that story. So I appreciate you inviting us to let you in on the good work that we're doing and the difference that we're making. So thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
Thank you.
Go to visit Lee County, the quarterly update report. Lucas Polly.
Well, I got to say, I don't know if I want to follow up Carla because she's so passionate with U of I Extension. It's amazing to listen every time I get to listen to Carla talk about what she does. So it's amazing. I'm Lucas Polly. I'm with Visit Lee County. Met most of you the last time I was here. Some of you I knew before that, obviously. Very excited to report. And it's kind of crazy to me that we're just still yet under half a year as Visit Lee County. We've done so much work. There's so much work to be done, but we're very excited to kind of report where we're at. So you can go to the next slide. Our mission, just to recap, is to position Lee County as a popular destination point in Northwest Illinois and beyond as well. We believe it's a place where we can grow as a tourism spot, and that's what we're positioning ourselves to do. Our main cornerstones are promote the beauty, peace, history, and recreation that Lee County has to offer. Many of you, no matter if you've lived in Lee County for just a few years or your entire life, there's so many different opportunities, some smaller hidden gems, some well-known areas, and we really just want to promote that to the outside area as well as our local region. We also want to highlight the unique retail opportunities, also the restaurants as well to be found throughout Lee County. It kind of goes the same with that as well. There's hidden gems. There's the well-known stops that everyone stops at when they come through Dixon or Amboy or Sublette, and we really just want to promote those as well. And the main thing here is, spur travel and stays, build connections, and foster traditions. We want to spur travel and stays, get people to come for a day and then maybe a weekend the next time. And then maybe they come back next year and it becomes a tradition. We want that to be part of their family's tradition to come to Lee County. So that's part of what we're doing, and we hope we're getting close to that. So the next slide kind of just goes over where the brand is at. Visit Lee County has spent the past few months continuing to rebuild and strengthen the new brand's personality, identity, and voice. As you all know, the Visit Lee County is an entirely new tourism brand for Lee County that encompasses an entirely new brand scheme, logos, tone, and feel as well. So we're still kind of moving through that as we go through these first couple of months, and we're building on that each and every day. The team has spent many hours doing the work necessary to build strong engagement. We're fostering those relationships with both old and new followers. We're able to garner new followers with different advertisements that we've been running. And we're also fostering those new and old relationships as well with different organizations that we work with or different vendors that we work with. So we're still learning those things each day as well. We have people reach out to us as well. And, we're learning, different connections that have been, years in the making that we are moving through as well. So we're reacquainting ourselves, and it's been an amazing process to be a part of. For the next slide, it kind of goes over our social media. So we've been posting on average 3 times per week on our social platforms. Those do remain Facebook and Instagram. As I mentioned at the last update, we had to completely restart our Instagram account, excuse me. And then so we also were able to transition the new Facebook to our brand. So we do plan to probably go into different other platforms as well, but we really wanted to make sure we had those 2 down these first 6 months. We've also, so what are we usually posting? You'll see We're looking for follower feedback. We're looking for posts highlighting local tourism locations, and we're spotlighting businesses and restaurants. Through our visits that we've had scheduled throughout this first part of the year with different social media influencers, those influencers had turned around and given us amazing content. That's pictures of businesses from all over Lee County, different historic sites, nature preserves. It's just been amazing. We've had some really great luck with having some great visitors and content creators come and work with us. And we've been able to turn around and use that content to really highlight some of those places and have some really engaging and successful organic posts for Visit Lee County. We've also just recently started integrating some posts sharing neat history tidbits. We've just did one on Amboy a few weeks ago. I think we have a few more scheduled. Sometimes I'm kind of thinking of our social calendar that when it's been released or what's been released. So I'm not sure. There are a few more coming. And that's something that I think will also be a nice little touch to our regular content plan as well. Next slide, please. So the social media results. So like I was saying before, those social media posts and those images and videos that we've been able to get from our content creators have really given us some nice growth in the organic portion of our social media and also the paid advertisements. So our organic reach has continued to rise, even after being up 327% after the first 2 months, which I reported last time. It's up another 18%. So we're still seeing growth beyond that initial amazing growth that we saw there at the first 2 months. The Instagram profile visits are up another 36%. And then in the past 3 months, content from Visit Lee County has been seen by 436,000 people, more than 1.2 million times. So that's pretty amazing when you're getting that much impressions and that much reach through these first 6 months. Link clicks are also up another 75%. Clicks, you see 643 clicks and you probably wish it was a lot more, but it takes a lot to get that person to click that advertisement, and having 643 and being up 75% is something we're actually pretty proud of and shooting to be better each time. In the past 28 days, just alone, content interactions are up 51%, and the 45 more Facebook follows in the past 28 days, which is an increase of 95%. So we're really seeing some great growth the last 28 days as well. And the next slide, please. The social media influencers I was speaking of before. We had a visit completed in March. It was a treat yourself day. An influencer visited with her daughter and the rest of her family. She showcased a local nail salon. She had some great photos of her daughter. I believe that's Books on First there. Some great, she was Maria's Pizza, and Amboy is another place she stopped and got amazing photos from Maria's Pizza. And we've been able to take those photos from just that trip and use it in so many of our posts and our paid advertisements as well. We have a trip that was rescheduled due to an illness in her family, but this is a family fun trip that's going to include dinner in Ashton, fun at Plum Hollow, and more fun planned for that one as well. We have another one in 2 weeks that's going to really highlight the historic sites and delicious bites. That's kind of the itinerary we came up for that one. So that'll be one that's coming in 2 weeks as well. And then 2 visits to be planned after that we still have with our content creators that will be focusing on lodging, campground options, possibly tying in some upcoming summer events. We did that with the Amboy Depot Days last year. And that's something we'll probably continue to do with upcoming summer events as well. And we can go to the next slide, please. So advertisements. So I talk a lot about the social media advertisement. It is a big, large component of what we do. That's where we can get that reach and report back on kind of the followers and have all those metrics. But we're also still invested in making sure we have print advertising, and we're looking for different opportunities beyond the traditional advertising. As you see there, we had the opportunity to do a Lots bus and worked with our design and our brand, and a member of our team came up with a design for Visit Lee County. And if you see the new logo there in one of the windows, it actually has all of the communities that make up Lee County. So that's pretty cool as well. And in the top window, it says "Find yourself here." As we've said before, that's kind of the main tagline of Visit Lee County. Find yourself here. You know, whatever you're looking for, find yourself here. So that's something that we thought would be very cool, and it turned out to be great. Very happy with the member of our team that came up with that design as well. We're also we are active on Snapchat. We have ads on Snapchat, so we're trying to hit a younger demographic there as well. We are advertising in local lodging and campground publications. We are advertising in the local newspaper. We are advertising in regional and statewide travel publications as well. So we continue to, you know, kind of move through those opportunities and see what works for Visit Lee County as we go along. This year is going to be a learning process, and we're kind of just learning, you know, what's successful as we go. So the main focus of these ads is really going to be brand awareness. You know, this first year, we're still making sure people see Visit Lee County and they know what that means. You know, we're 6 months in, and I've had people already say, you know, I saw that, or I saw that brand, or oh yeah, I saw that new logo. Like that's cool to see, and that's part of the process this first year. So we're really excited about where the brand's heading and where it can go the rest of this year. And you know, we're really aiming to promote Lee County as a place to get away for a couple of days. We want people to come. We want them to stay here. We want them to invest in our community. We want them to stop at multiple places and go to all facets of Lee County. That's part of the itinerary trips that we do as well. We're really making a focus of making sure we're including all of those communities, you know, not just Dixon and Amboy and Ashton. We want people to go to all the smaller communities and all of the communities that make up Lee County as well. So, you know, we're working through what works best, as I mentioned, and deciphering kind of what works best there. You can move to the next slide, please. So just to recap, looking ahead, we actually just wrapped up the final video we needed for traditional TV. That's probably the one thing you haven't heard me talk about yet tonight is traditional television and digital video ads. We're in a spot where we really needed to kind of build up a library of video for those ads. So we kind of needed the weather to turn as well. So we really, the past couple of weeks, we're able to get out and get some video. I really want to thank Nachusa Grasslands. Molly and Cody out at Nachusa Grasslands were great to us. They allowed us to go out there very early, get very close to the buffalo and get some great shots to promote that as a place for tourists, you know, to come and book tours and have field trips and, you know, just be a place where people kind of build those connections as well. As a reminder, as I said at the beginning, you know, these ads are going to focus on nature, recreation, peacefulness, and unique shopping opportunities galore, and as well as restaurants. And their goal will be promote Lee County as a place to stop and stay a while. We really want people to find themselves here, and that's what the goal is with those advertisements. You know, I wrap up in saying, you know, like all of our marketing efforts, you know, we hope these ads elevate the brand even higher as we head into the rest of the year. We're going to continue to learn, you know, what works best for us. Keep putting in the work. You know, we've begun with Visit Lee County and continue to grow from there. So we're very excited. It feels very much like a whirlwind. I can't believe I just, you know, we're still under, you know, 6 months of Visit Lee County being out there for the public. As I've been working with it longer, I sometimes forget that, but it's been amazing. And I thank you for the opportunity to do so and look forward to working. I will take any questions as well. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Lucas? Yes.
Thanks a lot, Lucas. I
Mhm.
really appreciate that you prepared that data for us to see too, how things are working and everything looks really nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think you guys are doing an awesome job. It's fun to watch and see what as it grows. So, any
you.
other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move down to reports of standing committees. We got Accounting Services, Mr. Friel, Vice Chair. Would you like to give that report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we met last Tuesday. Everything is in your agenda packet. Each one of the departments, had a presentation. And some of the petitions that are going back and forth are on there also. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Questions or comments for him? Thanks, Dean. We'll go to Public Safety Court Services Committee, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety met May 14th in this room here. The attending department heads have filed their necessary reports. That information is available through the packet or online. I'm not going to read through everything because we'll be here for another few minutes. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them.
Any questions or comments? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Then we'll go to Facilities Maintenance Committee, Mr. Friel, Vice Chair again.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met last Tuesday. It was a short meeting. The HVAC project at the new courthouse is coming along. It should be done by the end of May, maybe the first week in June. So that's coming along well. So, any questions?
Will they be wrapping that up pretty soon then at the end of the month or?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Anything for Dean on? Thank you, Dean. We'll go to claims, Mr. Zeman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 meetings to report on. We always meet twice a month. Paul would probably like it every week, but sorry about that. April 17th, we met 9 a.m. at the usual place. We reviewed 50 claims, no rejections. The other meeting was on May 8th, 2024. Usual place. We initiated 90 claims, but actually 21 more showed up. So we did 110, kind of a world record there. But we did it in about an hour and 45 minutes. So we chopped through all those. People would claims to get to the committee, it's got to be a claim of $1,000 or more. So we see all of those. The rest are handled through Jeremy and Paul. That's about it for my report. Any questions?
Mike, I think the process is working really well. Would you tweak it at all or any recommendations?
Well, we had talked about changing the 1,000 up or down, but we're comfortable with the 1,000.
Nancy, are you, you're good with it?
Yeah, we've talked about it, a lot of different things. Some things just to streamline. Oh, sorry. Some things just to streamline the process. And people are starting to get used to it too.
Yeah, the department.
There's always a place to go, make it a little bit better, but it works really well.
Sure. I like the system, even paid vacation. We had a claim late last night that went through and I mean, just seemed seamless and seemed like it's working good.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions or comments? None. Thanks, Mike. We'll go to finance, Mr. Sheeline.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met last Thursday. And at this time, I'll call on the treasurer, Paul Rodolfi, to go through the financials with us. If you want to follow along with what Paul's doing, I think you have to go back to the Finance Committee report on onboard and go to the monthly finances. So anyway.
All right, thank you.
Just listen to
Good evening.
Or you can just listen to Paul, whichever.
So for those of you who don't come or not able to come to the Finance Committee meetings, this is something that I usually do on a monthly basis. But I want to give you just some quick background on where we're at financially and what's going on for the year. But I'd also like to start out by saying thank you to Mr. Kitson for the comment. I wish we could have heard it just this morning, as probably more than 25 or 30 calls today. Did not go as well as planned. And I'm sure Jennifer is hearing the same calls. So yes, you are absolutely spot on your comments, and I appreciate that. So from a financial standpoint, when we look at our revenues that we had projected, those revenues are coming in just right slightly at where we projected. I wouldn't say they're coming in over it. One of the things that I wanted to talk to the whole board about was our personal property replacement tax that we get from the state of Illinois. Now, they had given us a projection last year about this time that we would see about $1 million. Well, we took that as that was going to be our fiscal year value. What they were talking about was their fiscal year value. So that's July of 23 through June of 24. And we are seeing that. So we got that amount. We won't see any more until after June. So that's one of the things that I think that's dropping off close, and in my view, at 55%. And, and the state had looked at a 33% drop. So that is dropping. Income tax, though, is coming in a little higher, so that offsets that a little bit. Expenses, they're coming in probably right where we had budgeted them. I don't see any difference. Mike kind of made mention of seeing 102 claims, and you got to think about that. Minimally, that was $1,000 a claim. So we've gone through some cash outlays in the last month that are significant. One of the things that we'll see in July, as we start collecting property tax, we will do a distribution to 96 different governing bodies, and one of those will be Lee County. So that cash inflow will start coming back for that. Our bank accounts seem to be working well. One of the things that Reed has done well is position our investments such that we are now seeing an increase in our interest that we normally get. And you also have to be very careful. This is government money, so you cannot blindly invest it into anything you want. You have to be very strict at that. But he's doing a nice job. We're averaging probably just at 5%, which is phenomenal for something that you have to be very conservative about. So cash balance is fine. Like I said, I was probably thinking more in terms of the revenue expenses. Any questions for me? If you guys have any, love to hear from you. Reed is also a great resource in terms of our financials. So any questions or outlooks that you have concerns on? Great. I appreciate it. So, all right.
All right, thank you, Paul. The other items that the finance committee took is there in your in the packet, in your minutes. One of the comments I would make is that there's one item that we're going to take care of was board action request, and that was in regards to the sheriff's car that was totaled in January. There was a little bit of miscommunication. We weren't able to put it through the right process in finance committee. But we were able to get it put on the agenda for us to take care of tonight. As far as budget impact of that is, we got a insurance claim of roughly $28,000. The replace the car is going to cost us roughly around between $17,000 and $20,000. But that board action request will be coming in new business later on in the meeting. Other than that, once again, I'll remind everybody, June 4th, mark it on your calendar, all kinds of exciting financial stuff to learn. One of the things that even, I've been around a while, and of course I've been around, government revenue things for practically all my adult life, but I didn't know what one of the things that we get money from is called local use tax. And I had to ask Paul, what is that? And that's actually part of the income. Let me get this right. Income tax that's actually handled in a different formula and put out in a different way. That's handled differently. And I'd always seen that. I understood what personal property replacement tax was. Knew the history of that. I had no idea.
It is also, a lot of it is known as the Wayfair tax, where if you buy something online and you are not maybe in Illinois even, but that you're shipping it to Illinois and to the specific ship to spot, that tax will be added on to your purchase. It'll go through the state of Illinois. And that formula reads that right off the top, there's a certain amount that goes to the city of Chicago. Then there's a portion that goes to the regional transit districts. Then there's a portion that goes obviously to the state. And one of the items for the state is Rebuild Illinois. So we see that in some of our highways projects. And then the very last little bit of it is sent out to the counties, and it's based on population. So it's a long drawn out formula. But yeah, we average probably around 35 to 40,000 a month in use tax.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that we're going to be going over on the 4th, and also some of the things of how how the general county general is handled in regards to, and via the highway department and all those interactions. So really encourage everybody to participate in June 4th again. I think that's all I've. Pardon me. Time. Mike's asking me what time is. Time is 6 o'clock. If you want to show up at 5:30, have a sandwich with us. We'll have a sandwich and then we'll get started at 6 o'clock. We are going to take a break. We're not going to make you sit there and torture you for 2 hours. So we'll do an hour, take a break, and try to be wrapped up by 8 o'clock. So anyway, I think that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Jim? Thanks, Jim. Executive Committee, Mr. Kitson, the Vice Chair, you handled the meeting. Do you got anything you want to share with us?
Sure, but it'll be nothing like the last one. I have no guest speaker. We met last Thursday. We prepared the agenda for tonight. We went over things. Everything's in the packet. If there's any questions, we're going to try to answer.
Any questions for Tom? Thanks for sharing that for me, Tom. We'll go to the reports of other committees, the Board of Health, Ms. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The meeting notes are in your packet. I'll just highlight a couple things. We met on May 14th at 6:30 at the Lee County Health Department. Intern from Public Health with their bachelor's will begin this week. They began this week in completing about 300 hours. The fiscal year 25 grant applications are coming in soon. All the pre-qualifications are met in order to fill out those appropriate grants. A big thing that is new to the health department this year, which is important to know, is tick drags. It's active tick surveillance to find the different types of ticks to determine where they're most prevalent. So that's something new, something we need to make sure we keep an eye on. Our next meeting will be July 9th at 6:30 at the Lee County Health Department.
Any questions, comments for Katie? Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
911 Board, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, Director Dallas cannot be here tonight. She's in the process with 911, working on implementing a new interface with response protocol that's this week and this evening. She's still working on it. The go live was Wednesday, and it gives more real-time data to responders and streamlines dispatch operations. So it's a good thing. And next meeting will be July 25th, 3:30 p.m. at Lee County 911 Center.
Any questions? Keen? Thanks, Keen.
Thank you.
We'll go to Tri-County Opportunities Council, Mr. Acree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had our last meeting April 25th down in Princeton. I was not able to attend that meeting, but the minutes are in the board packet. Our next meeting will be this Tuesday, May 28th over in Sterling, and I plan to attend. Give a report next month.
Any questions or comments for Reed? Thanks, Reed. Blackhawk Hills Regional Council, Leo Enterprise Zone, Ms. Shippert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will say Tom probably gave the most comprehensive update of what we're doing, so I'm not gonna go further than that. Thank you.
We'll go to same thing with Lucida, Mr. Acre. You got anything you want to add to that?
Tom did a pretty good job, paraphrasing what, I was gonna give a little more complete report, but, I'll pass tonight just in the spirit of time. But, our next meeting is, June 5th though, here in Dixon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Surma, Mr. Zeman.
Yeah, no meeting, so no report. I believe June, the day of the next board meeting, we do meet in Bloomington that morning for Surma. But so I'll probably have a report next month.
All right, we'll go to UCCI, Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was unable to attend the meeting this past Monday in Springfield. However, with the planning has started for the July meeting in Galena, the July 21st to the 23rd. I encourage everybody that can attend that to go. There'll be some paperwork coming out on it in the very, very near future. But it's a good opportunity for a lot of training and a lot of fellowship with other counties. Any questions? I'll try to answer that.
Any questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. Illinois Association of County Board Members, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a report here as of May 10th on 17 bills that we reviewed in our committee session. 7 supported by CBM, 1 was opposed, 6 neutral, and there were 3 that there was no action taken on. They just had their recent conference, I think it was last week. I wasn't able to attend that, but there was a lot of discussion by several different agencies on Bill 4512. So that didn't go through without turning the lights out on it. The Illinois General Assembly is scheduled to adjourn tomorrow with contingent session dates extended to May 31st. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions or comments for Mike?
Yeah, Mike, what was that bill you're talking about, lights out? The last one you just mentioned, you said.
That was just an off-the-wall comment from me.
Well, I was just wondering what the bill was about because I'm not familiar.
On 4512?
Yeah.
That was that 1-day leave situation, and it's causing the perpetual ball rolling as far as stacking time off and being compensated for it, raising budgets across the counties.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. We're moving on to 14. I have no unfinished business. There are no items. New business, we have a resolution, certified list of candidates for judge election. Nancy, it says you want to share that with us?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. This happens every 2 years that I do need the approval from the county board of those list of election judges. There's 160 listed there. If it gets approved tonight, then on June 6th, then we go across the street and go in front of the judge. And that is then when it's moved further for approval.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the certified list of candidates? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Hudson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we go to B. We got a resolution in support of House Bill 4512. I think this has to do with publishing the reassessment. I think where we don't have to put it in the paper anymore. Would that be correct, Jennifer?
It is correct. And that bill also is at Rules Committee, probably dead in the water, but I still like to have work for it though.
Absolutely. Is there a motion to approve this resolution in support of House Bill 4512? Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Kitson seconds. Any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to C. We got intergovernmental agreement between Lee County and the city of Dixon. Is there a motion to approve the resolution revising the zoning and building permit fee schedule? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Friel seconds it. Any discussion on this? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Here we go to the one that Mr. Sheeline alluded to, the Sheriff's Office squad car replacement request. Is there a motion to approve the funds from capital budget to replace the Sheriff's Office squad car? I got Mr. Gascoigne moves and Ms. Naylor seconds it. Any discussion? We might need another one here where we were going, so do do two tonight or not? So anyhow, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Had to wake everybody up a little bit. We'll go to, so we have a resolution for IDOT regarding parcel 07-08-05-237-029. They're both IDOT resolutions are on the agenda tonight, are ADA sidewalk improvement projects on the new courts building property. So we're gonna approve them separately, but it's a small piece of land. I gotta sign the paperwork for IDOT. They're just get them ADA compatible, or bring them up to ADA standards. So is there a motion to approve the IDOT resolution for parcel 07-08-05-237-029? Mr. Hudson moves, Mr. Frill seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we're gonna do the other one now. Is resolution, is there a motion to approve the IDOT resolution for parcel 07-08-05-237-032? Mr. Copine moves, Mr. Pearson seconds. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Pearson. I think I almost got his name right this time. So we'll move on to, I have two appointments this month. I got a resolution to reappoint Judy Truckenbroad to the Farmland Assessment Review Committee. Is there a motion to reappoint her? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Meany seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the reappointment of James D. Sheeline to the Farmland Assessment Review Committee? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Pearson seconds it. I'll open this up to the discussion.
This is only the 16th time.
Holy cow. You're almost catching up with Mr. Fosher over there with the zoning. So, all right, I got a first and a second, a lot of discussion. We'll move on to a vote. Call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Jim. I have no executive session tonight. Is there a motion to approve the county officers' reports? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Friel seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we go down to the approval of monthly revenue report, claims paid vacation, and payroll paid. I need a motion to approve. Mr. Kitson moves, Mr. Hudson seconds it. Any discussion? If none, we're going to do a roll call vote.
Start with Copine,
Yes.
Minimi,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Sheeline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Acree,
Yes.
Friel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Unanimous motion passes. We'll go to approval of board member mileage and per diem. We have a motion to approve that. Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hudson moves, Mr. Pearson seconds it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.